Hello weirdos, welcome back to my channel. It is really hot, so I'm probably going to be here fanning myself with this fan. I got it several years ago. I love it so much. Anyway, so what are we going to be doing today? Well, we're going to be doing a book haul. I've got a couple of these. I've been really behind on just showing you guys kind of what I've been acquiring recently. And this is all stuff that I've kind of gathered a lot, like, for the past couple of months, but I got all of this stuff at Barnes & Noble. I know Barnes & Noble isn't the best place to be acquiring books. However, it is like the only bookstore that is near where I currently live. Yeah, I have zero impulse control. So we're just gonna go through the books. All right, so let's start off, and I'm gonna be using my non-dominant hand because I need to keep the airflow going. All right, so the first book I got is China, A History. This is by John Key. This is like it's not a biography. If anything, it's like a biography of China. You guys know I'm goober interested in China and learning more about its history, both its modern history and its ancient history. So that's why I picked up this one. It's also going to be involved in a video that I have coming up, so keep kind of like an eye out for that. The other book I got, I don't know much about this. This is The Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I know it is fantasy. I think there's queer shit in it, but don't quote me on that. I have no idea. Yeah, it's the first book in the Dandelion oh my god, I cannot speak. In the Dandelion Dynasty. Yeah, it's a thick boy. It's thick. I think it's like 600 pages, and I'm really looking forward to this guy. The next book I've heard buzz about all over YouTube, and I'm sure that you guys heard about it too. It's a little bit different than like what I normally do, but I was like, let's grab it. And that is The Only Good Indians. This is by Stephen Graham Jones. I think this is about a couple of Indians themselves. They go on like a hunt and horror happens. It's a horror book. I'm super excited for it. Horror isn't usually a genre that I'm like, yes. However, when I do read a good horror book, I really like it. I'm currently reading one now that I'm like, oh my god, this is disgusting, and I love it. So I really think it depends on my mood. So yeah, I've heard really, really good things about it, and it was in the buy one, get one 50% off section. So I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. The next book I got is The Downstairs Girl by Stacey Lee, and I know nothing about this. My mom and I were shopping at Barnes & Noble. She got stuff too. She has way more impulse control than I do, so there's that. So this was one of the books that they put in the Starbucks or the cafe and say that you get $5. You can buy this book for $5 if you purchase something from the cafe. And we were like, well, we're gonna go over here and get hot chocolate and just sip our hot chocolate and like talk about books. So we thought about it, we read it, and yeah, it's set in 1990, and you follow Jo Kwon, and she's a lady's maid, and I was like, you know what, this will be a really interesting piece of historical fiction, because it's taking place in a time where we don't normally see a bunch of, like, characters who are of color, and the main character is, I think, ethnically Chinese. I'm not super sure about it. Again, I have not read it or done a bunch of research into this book. That's kind of what gravitated me towards this. Anyway, that's that one. The next book, I was looking for it at my library because I was going to read it at my library, and they had like the sequel to this one, but not this one, and it was recommended to me by someone. And that is The Silk Roads by Peter Frank Copan. My mom told me that one of her friends, and she doesn't remember who recommended it to me, because it kind of takes this overall like view of like history, but it doesn't focus on like European history. It focuses, obviously, kind of by the title, the Silk Roads, and how the Silk Roads were so influential and how it became kind of this beautiful mixing pot in Asia, which isn't really talked about often, especially I feel like in the West where I grew up. We don't typically talk about the Silk Roads that much or how influential and cool. Also, Chonky Boy but I'm so excited for this. I think this is going to be kind of like tickling all of my history, sociology, culture, history desires, and I'm so excited. All of the books I have mentioned so far do have audiobooks. If they don't, I'll let you know. I'm trying to say that, but sometimes I'm bad and I just forget. The next book I picked up is Homo Deus. This is by Yuval Noah Harari. This is a brief history of tomorrow. I read his Sapiens, which is right there. Y'all can see it. I really liked Sapiens in a way that I think I'm going to really enjoy the Silk Roads. And so I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to get this one. It's going to be a little bit different take. I think it's going to be a little bit more focused on like the science of tomorrow rather than the science of yesterday. And I'm really excited to kind of read the essays and, I don't know, see how technology is going to influence and impact our culture and our cultural change and how it's, anyway. So that's why this one appeals to me. Yeah, it's thick and heavy. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It is hot. The next book I got is Madhouse at the End of the World, the Balenciaga's Journey to the Dark Antarctic Night. Oh my god, into the dark Antarctic night. This is by Julian Sancton, and I don't know what it is about stories about surviving on the Arctic that are so interesting to me, and especially like adventure stories, specifically the Arctic, that I love. There's something so niche about it, and that's what this is. It's about surviving in the Arctic, kind of like how your mind goes a little bit crazy because of the extreme isolation, and depending on other factors, like you could get poisoning, and you know, you're stuck with like 50 other people in a ship. You can't really go anywhere without freezing to death. Yeah, that's why this one appeals to me, and I've been searching for so long to find books kind of like this, and I'm very excited to read this one. And it was so funny because I went into the Barnes & Noble and I went to the history section, and right away there was this table, all of books like that, and I was like, no, now I have to buy all these books, and I can't afford to buy all the books that were sitting on the table, so I had to choose just one, and this is the one that I chose. All right, continuing on. The next book I got is FMA, Fullmetal Alchemist, the first one. So I have read all of these. Have I watched Brotherhood and FMA? Both of them? Yes. I love FMA. It's one of my favorite anime series. I love the relationships between the brothers and all of the complex feels you get, and I have so many feelings. I want all of these. I want all of these, and I have been... Girlies! I got 2 doggos with us. Anyway, so my rule to prevent myself from going broke is I can't buy them all up in one sweep. I kind of have to buy them as I find them. And I want this edition specifically because I just think it is a very pretty edition. It's nice hardbacks. The paper is nice. So I have been scouring kind of Barnes & Noble, keeping an eye out for these. And I won't allow myself to buy like more than like the number of like sequentials have it. So if they have like 1, 2, and 3, I would buy 1, 2, and 3. But if they had 5 and 6, but they didn't have 4, I can't buy 5 and 6. If that makes any sense. I don't think it does. But that's an order in which that I am buying them. And that's just the rules that I've set out for myself. And they only had 1. They didn't have 2, 3. I think they had like 10, 9, 7, and 11. But I was like, oops, since they don't have 2 and 3, I can only get 1. Hey there, little girl. Hey. So the premise of the story, who you're following these 2 brothers, Ed and Al. Their dad is kind of out of the picture. He's been out of the picture for a while for reasons. And recently their mom died. In order to bring their mom back, they try to resurrect her using a thing called alchemy. And in alchemy, there's this principle that you can't create you can't create something out of nothing. You have to always use what's around you, which is really interesting. I like that limit to the magic world. However, in their process of trying to bring back their mom, it goes horribly wrong. One of the brothers winds up losing his arm, and the other brother winds up losing his entire body and has to have his soul bound to a suit of armor. And you follow them in their quest to get their bodies back and return to normalcy. And I loved it. I watched it like on a whim, and then I read the books in a week. I was like home for spring break, and I got them all out from my library, and I just read through them. Like at parties, I had the books. At night, I had the books, and I'm just so happy to finally own the first copy of this edition. Anyway, I'm not usually weird about editions and stuff like that, but I wanted like nice editions of FMA because I love FMA. Okay, so continuing on, the next book I got is Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha. Again, I don't really know much about this. I've heard good things about it from people on the internet, from fellow booktubers. Again, it was one of those buy one, get 50% off the other one. And I think this is set in like a China-esque Eastern setting. And I believe they're like courtesan. The main character is like courtesans and stuff like that. And it's dealing with this whole like magic system, and I don't know much, and it's a horrible synopsis. Sorry, I'm not good at this. Why am I even doing this? Yeah, that's why I got this one. And I know there is a second one. When I go to the library and I work at the library, because I do that often, I sit in the section and I see a copy of this and its sequel. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get this because I am intrigued. We shall see. I'm very excited about this one though. I mean, look at the back. Like, that's so cool. Moving on, we are getting towards the end. I also got Heartstopper Volume 3. I own Volume 2. I do not own Volume 1. I cannot find Volume 1. Woe is me. I have read Volumes 1 and 2, and I'm very excited to start on this one. This is two dumbass gays falling in love, and it's adorable, and it's sweet, and it's very slice of life. And I enjoy it immensely. I'm pretty sure everybody on the internet has raved about this, but yeah, that's why I got this one, and I'm so excited to get my grubby little hands on reading it out. And the very last one I got is Confederates in the Attic, Dispatches from the Unfinished Civil War by Tony Horwitz. This sounds really, really interesting to me. I know that it looks at like the history of like not only like the Civil War, but also the history of people engaging with the Civil War, which is fascinating, particularly when it comes to being confederacies, having that relationship between people now in the South. They, like their ancestors fought to defend slavery. Yeah, and I think it looks a lot at reactors and like Civil War reenactors, and that whole world in and of itself is goober interesting. Yeah, and I am very excited to start reading this. So that is that one. All right, there you go. It has been a hot day and will remain a hot day. I will let you guys go. Yeah, bye.